All right, what's going on, y'all? First of all, I see so many of you already in the comments. That makes my little heart grow 3 sizes too big. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the first post-game show of the year. Yeah, we had a football game. That was exciting. The Steelers losing 20-12 to the Texans to kick off their preseason. So we'll dive into my thoughts on all the big name starters and whatnot, the new guys coming in. Take your comments as well. I see a bunch of them there already, so I'll get to you guys in a second. Just want to give you my immediate takeaways on a select handful of guys. So I'll start with the elephant in the room, Justin Fields. I thought that he did solid. I don't think that it was great. I don't think it was bad. 5 of 6, 67 yards. But he did a lot of things that I don't think, the previous guy would have done or could have done in terms of just improvising in the face of adversity. I think his first pass, he had a defender in his face, just kind of adjusted, sidearm, threw it around him to Najee Harris, who got a gain of 16. Had a nice play action pass over the middle of the field to Van Jefferson to gain 20. Did another little sidearm thing on a screen pass. Got a nice completion to Pickens for 13, 14 yards. He looked solid. The center exchange stuff with Nate Herbig. Obviously some of that falls on his shoulders, but at the same time, Nate Herbig is a guy who couldn't beat out Mason Cole for a starting job. So I'm hoping to whatever God will listen that Nate Herbig isn't the week one starter at center, because I don't think that he's capable of doing so. But I thought Fields looked fine. Nothing that'll blow you away, nothing otherworldly, but I think he did I think he did a lot of good things with the reps that he was given. Made some good throws, and looked solid. Could he have done more? Sure. Could have done a lot worse as well. So overall, solid outing for Fields. Again, 5 of 6, 67 yards. Pretty solid outing for Fields in his first action as a Steeler. Peyton Wilson was the other guy that I really wanted to highlight. His first play, the first play of the season whatsoever defensively for the Steelers, Peyton Wilson gets a tackle for loss. That kind of set the tone for him throughout the night, because he's flying all over the field in pass coverage. He led the team in tackles with 4. I think he had 2 tackles for loss on the night. So that was the guy outside of Fields that I was the most excited to watch, and he didn't disappoint. So was happy to see Peyton Wilson do well. DeMarvin Leal, another guy who is going to be given more opportunities now, especially after moving outside, playing edge rusher now, and then Marcus Golden very suddenly just retired today. So that 4th edge rusher spot that was originally, going to be Marcus Golden's looks like it's going to now be DeMarvin Leal's to lose. And he had a really nice night. He had a sack tonight. He's had a really good training camp thus far. So that's a guy who didn't have a great year last year, hasn't really lived up to any sort of expectations that the Steelers had when they drafted him a couple years ago. And I believe the 4th round, I think he was a 4th round pick, 3rd round pick, one of those two. But has looked good so far this summer and had a really nice outing tonight. So good to see for DeMarvin Leal. Montravius Adams also had a sack. Jeremiah Moon, the linebacker, had a sack late in the game, and 3 tackles on the night. Ryan Watts, 6th round pick safety or cornerback. I think he's going to be mostly safety at the NFL level. Almost had an interception, played well. Overall, a lot of guys had some solid outings, and a lot to clean up, though, especially on the special teams side of things, I think that we've seen the last of Quez Watkins, at least as bare minimum returning kicks. That's the last we're going to see of him doing that. Fair caught the first punt that came near him, and there was a defender within 10 yards of him. So that was probably not the best way for him to start the night. And then he muffed a second punt and set up the Texans in good field position, which led to a touchdown. So I think that we're done seeing Quez Watkins in any way, shape, or form when it comes to returning kicks. And that's a guy who was a fringe roster guy to begin with and may have tried to carve out a roster spot in the return game. So the fact that he struggled, not very good. We'll see if he's given any more opportunities throughout the rest of the preseason, how long, if he even lasts that long, to be perfectly honest with you. Just not a really good night for him. But Calvin Austin, while we're talking about receivers, 2 catches for 49 yards, so 2 pretty long catches. Scotty Miller had 47 yards on 3 catches. So a couple notable performances from that aspect. Daijun Edwards, the undrafted running back out of Georgia, had 28 yards and a touchdown. He was the most impressive running back of the night. I know Jonathan Ward had a relatively long run, but didn't really do anything else outside of that. So I don't think I'm missing anybody or leaving anybody out. You guys can tell me if I am, but those were the ones who stuck out most to me. I see a lot of your comments as a whole. I'll get to this one right away. 2 fumbles, 2 sacks. He did good. How many points did he score in 3 possessions? Look, man, preseason, it's not about the points, really. Ask Steelers fans how much the preseason is worth when it comes to touchdowns. Last year, they scored 5 touchdowns in 5 drives with Kenny Pickett, and he sucks, frankly speaking. The 2 sacks, Troy Fautanu got beat, and Danielle Hunter sacked Justin Fields. The other one, a lot of pressure in his face. He went down. Like, the sacks weren't really on Justin Fields. I don't think that both fumbles were on him either. If you want to bear some responsibility to him for the fumbles, okay, sure. But I think Nate Herbig's also just a bad center. So I think overall he looked fine. Didn't blow me away. Didn't do anything like horribly. I thought he had a solid outing, made some good throws. Barley, I know it's week 1 of the preseason. Player-wise, I'm happy, but no surprise that Tomlin team looking completely unprepared, stepping on their Look, man, it's week 1 of the preseason. I think a lot of the issues, I think really the majority of the issues were special teams and offensive line. And offensive line-wise, that's not great. I think one of the bigger issues for me in watching the game was, why is Broderick Jones still in the game in the 3rd quarter? And why do they keep moving? Like, they don't seem to have any sort of solidified plan in mind when it comes to Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu. And that's worrisome to me, because you've drafted these 2 with your last 2 first-round picks, and you don't seem to have shit all of a plan of who's going to play where and who's going to do what. And it doesn't seem like the coaches are on the same pages either, because Pat Meyer, the offensive line coach, was like, yeah, Broderick's going to play on the left side. That was kind of all that he was really referring to a couple of days ago. But then Broderick comes out and says, yeah, I'm going to play left side. I'm going to play right side. Like, no one really seems to know what's going on in that situation. So Troy Fautanu had himself, a welcome to the NFL moment where Danielle Hunter beat him relatively easy around the right side for a sack. So a lot of things just look sloppy throughout the night. Spencer Anderson, I think, was tonight's big winner. Dude looked 10 times better. Yeah, Spencer Anderson had a nice night. That was a good shout. Not a name that I commented on. GP looked good. Calvin Austin, Van made plays. Dre Jenkins might be a good depth guy too. Yeah, Dre Jenkins, number 21, he had a solid outing, had a few catches. Van had a nice catch on the sideline that Tomlin didn't challenge. I think that the reason for not challenging it was he wanted to see what the offense would look like in a 3rd down situation. But yeah, Van Jefferson looked good. Calvin Austin looked good. Yeah, George Pickens had, I think, 1 or 2 catches. So yeah, I think from a receiver perspective, those 3 did what you would want them to do in week 1 of the preseason. Frazier looked good too. Zach Frazier did look good. I was happy to see him playing well. And I think, again, there's no reason and no way you can talk me into Nate Herbig being the week 1 starter at center. I don't care if he's a rookie. You drafted him for a reason. It's because no one else on your roster is capable of doing it. Start Zach Frazier week 1. There's no reason to do this. Nate Herbig doesn't need to snap a ball ever again. Leave him at guard. Yeah, he can be a backup guard. That could be Nate Herbig's role. He could be a backup guard and Nick Herbig's brother. That's all he needs to be for this team. I don't need to see him in a starting role ever. The way Anderson and McCormick played tonight, I think replacing Daniels and Samalo isn't going to be hard. If Anderson doesn't make this team, I'm going to be upset. I think Anderson's going to make the team. I think he's going to be the top depth offensive lineman. And Mason McCormick, I think, makes things interesting for a potential, we talked about the Brandon Ayuk potential trade over the last few days. If James Daniels really is a rumored piece to be part of that, I think that if Mason McCormick continues to play the way that he did tonight and looks good in camp and gives you more confidence. I think, moving on from James Daniels now rather than, at the end of the season, you feel more comfortable doing that if it means you get Brandon Ayuk back and if Mason McCormick keeps playing well. So Ryan Watts is also good in that. Yeah. Ryan Watts did very well. So shout out to Ryan Watts. Oh goodness, we've already got the you really wouldn't want Juju back here as a wide receiver 3. Juju Smith-Schuster's not good, man. Not good. 29 catches last year. His injuries just really derailed him. I'm not saying he wasn't good at one point, because he was, but he wouldn't be the wide receiver 3 on this team right now. Van Jefferson's better than he is right now. Calvin Austin's better than he is right now. Like, he at best would be the number 4. And by the way, Roman Wilson's going to be better than him, so at best he's going to be the number 5. I do not want Juju Smith-Schuster anywhere near the Steelers. Not in the slightest. Absolutely not. No. Not at all. No, Jared, you just say that because you think he's annoying. Yeah, he's annoying and he's not good. If he was annoying and good, I could live with it. Can't be both. You can be good and not annoying and good. You can't be annoying and bad. He's annoying and bad. I don't want Juju anywhere near the Steelers. Good riddance. Niners might use the picks we give him to get Amari Cooper. Have you seen Cooper's? I don't know what their plan would be there. I think that if a trade does happen, I think the Niners' next plan of attack would try to be to get somebody like Devontae Adams. I think that would make a lot more sense for them. But I mean, Amari Cooper's good. Wouldn't be a bad idea to get him. But focusing on the game, I'm excited to see Russell Wilson in action next week, assuming that we do. Obviously, we didn't see him tonight, but in very typical Russ fashion, he was still dressed out in full gear, wearing his helmet on the sidelines. Every time Russ does that, he looks like a kid, like waiting and hoping that he gets put in the game, and he never does. He just can't wear a hat on the sidelines. It's always got to be helmet. I just think that's funny. I'm going to take a stab at Burks or Hutchinson / Mechie, whoever Houston isn't going to keep. Yeah, Xavier Hutchinson, good shout. I want to say he was at the Senior Bowl last year when I was there. Yeah, it would have been last year. Iowa State is where he went. Yes, okay, it's coming back to me. Yeah, Xavier Hutchinson's fine. John Mechie, we'll see. I mean, we've had plenty of talks on the show about John Mechie potentially being the guy. But yeah, Xavier Hutchinson had a nice night. Did Fehoko play? What's Tomlin's beef with Fehoko? I honestly don't know. I was paying more attention to the defensive backs and linebackers than I was the defensive line, although Monty Adams had a really nice game. I honestly don't know if Fehoko played. Do not know. Tyler Matakevich did. It feels like Steelers preseason football again when Tyler Matakevich is getting snaps, doesn't it? It's been so long since we've had that. Yeah. Tyler Matakevich is like, if you had to put Steelers preseason football in human form, it would be Tyler Matakevich. I think Jonathan Ward might be the new Anthony McFarland, or Dejan Edwards might be too. The running back that pops in preseason every year. You're like, oh man, this might be his year. Well, no, but he's just good in preseason. But no, I don't know if Fehoko played. To be honest, I'll have to go look at the snap counts. But I'm not sure if he did. By the way, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do that, please, and thank you. Do a little bit of housekeeping there. If you want to read my full winners and losers article, go over to behindthesteelcurtain.com as well. But yeah, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. We'll do a little post-game stuff throughout the preseason, during the regular season too, Steelers-wise, and then nationally, you can check out the Pump Fake every week. You can watch it here on the channel. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts as well. Sutton, no runs till late third. I think that makes sense just because if you're not going to, the Steelers know they're not going to have Sutton for the first 2 months of the season. They want to see what these other guys can do. Beanie Bishop was flying all over the field as well. He's another guy who had a solid outing tonight in his first NFL action. They sent him off the edge as a extra rusher during a play. I think it still resulted in a completion. But, just a guy who seems to be comfortable. The moment wasn't, I think Pompiani said it after the game, moment didn't look too big for him. So I'm excited about Beanie Bishop. I think he's going to be a really solid nickel corner. I still think he's going to be the starter at nickel corner. Other guy, I mean, Nick Herbig, I'm trying to think of anything that he did. There was a play where he had a nice spin move to get past the right tackle. Pass was just thrown before we got there. And I want to say he had another play where he came off the left side and got to CJ Stroud and very nearly got a sack, but Stroud got rid of it ahead of time. Peyton Wilson was in coverage on Dalton Schultz, and who was coming across the middle. So yeah, Nick Herbig had a respectable outing in the snaps that he was giving. With no Patterson so far, you think his spot might be in jeopardy? The Georgia kid and card practice squad kid look good. No, I mean they just activated him today, so I think that was kind of the holdback. Cordero Patterson's making the roster. They literally, as soon as the kickoff rule was announced, they went out and signed him. Like, that's what he's going to be. He's making the roster. He's not going anywhere. They had John Rice Plumlee returning kicks tonight, though, with I think it was Jonathan Ward that was back there with him. We'll see what happens with John Rice Plumlee. He didn't get any sort of reps tonight at quarterback. We'll see if he does it all this preseason. I don't know. But they seem to want to use him in some way, shape, or form. It feels like that they might just try to use him in like a Taysom Hill type way. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like if Taysom Hill is Coke, John Rice Plumlee is Diet Coke. If that's the best comp I can make off the top of my dome right now. He's the Aldi branded Cheez-Its to Taysom Hill's Cheez-Its. If that makes sense. You guys remember Tommy Stevens? He didn't play for the Steelers, but he played quarterback at Penn State and then Mississippi State and then played in Carolina for a little bit. I think he's in the Canadian League now. Similar, if you watch Penn State football, the Penn State used him in a similar way before he went to Mississippi State. So that would be kind of my comp. John Rice Plumlee was good in college. Very fun at UCF. I think he played baseball at UCF too. So they seem to have some high hopes for him. Again, used him as a kick returner. They did that in OTAs and mini camp too. I think they've done that throughout training camp. So I mean, they're trying to find ways to get him on the field, which is cool to see. I mean, I really like John Rice Plumlee. So hopefully they find some sort of role for him. I think more than likely he's going to end up being the practice squad quarterback, which fine, that's cool. Any sort of way he is on the team, I will be happy with. And if he eventually gets a call up and is used in some way, shape, or form, then neat. And that's a good shout. Yeah. RC Cola. Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. Any sort of like off-brand thing. You guys kind of get the point. And if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. If you've got any comments, you can leave them in the comments and we'll get to them. But yeah, I mean, that was just my overall thoughts. I think Tomlin talked about it in his presser afterwards. There's a lot of sloppy stuff, especially on special teams, where Quez Watkins fumbled. Fair caught a punt that he didn't need a fair catch. They had a block in the back on a kick return. There's just a lot of sloppy play on special teams. The miscommunications on offense with the fumbled snaps, things that they got to clean up. But that's what preseason's for. So I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. No, I think that they'll work at it. They'll get better at it when they play Buffalo next week, when my Lord and Savior Joshua Patrick Allen comes to Pittsburgh. So that'll be. Sean McDermott said that they're going to play Allen too. You guys remember what happened last year when Buffalo came? Everybody and their mother, who's a Steelers fan, basically claimed that Kenny Pickett was their Lord and Savior. Threw a touchdown to Pat Freiermuth. Jalen Warren had that really long touchdown run, and everybody's like, "Yep, Steelers are the real deal." And then, of course, they weren't. So again, preseason, like, if they look really bad, then yeah, you might be a little bit concerned. But last year is, walking proof that, like, if they look really good, it doesn't really mean anything. So John says, field type is BS. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think it's BS. Like, I think he played solid. Again, 5 of 6, 67 yards. I put the fumbles more so on Herbig, the same way I did last year with Mason Cole, where there's a lot of similar plays like that, where it's very much, I'm known as the guy who doesn't like Kenny Pickett, but even on like fumbled exchanges from quarterback to center, I usually put that more on center than I do quarterback. I did it with Mitch too last year. Mason Cole did. So like I typically blame those things on center before I do quarterback. Yeah, I thought he played solid. I don't think he did anything that blew me away. Although I will say on a few of the throws to the outside where he had, pass rushers in his face, the little sidearm stuff around the pass rushers, that was, a little something that I enjoyed. Nice pass to Van Jefferson over the middle off play action. Like, I mean, if you guys went into this game expecting Justin Fields to go like 15 of 20 for 250 yards and 2 scores, that's your own fault. I thought he played fine. I don't think he did, like I said, didn't do anything that made me like do a backflip out of joy, but he played fine, did fine. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we see Russ next week against Buffalo. We can see both the guys hopefully get some reps with the starters. That would be good. Definitely want to see Russ get some live reps with the starters, though, before the season starts. Because the last time he didn't do that was his first year in Denver, and we know how that went. I'm not saying that's the reason it went that way, but I'm sure it didn't help. Nothing in this game that could lead to anyone thinking we don't need Ayuk. I commend you for making everything about Ayuk right now, man. I want him too, but goddamn. Fields or Russ don't have to be all pro. They have to be better than Pickett, and that's not hard at all. Watching Pickett for 2 years, Fields looks like Marino. They need to be picked to be better than Pickett, yes, but they need to be better than just better than Pickett because, like you said, that's a low bar. I think if they are, I've said this plenty of times throughout the offseason, the 18th best quarterback, that's great. It's tremendous. But even if, they're hovering around like the 20th best quarterback, they can still win games as long as the defense is playing well. They just need to be able to put up points offensively. I know some people are going to freak out. Oh, well, Fields didn't, lead them to any sort of score. Well, okay. It's the first game of the preseason, bro. Kenny Pickett led him to 5 touchdowns and 5 drives last year. He's not good. I don't know what to tell you. So there's an amount of stock that you can put into preseason games, but there's definitely too much that you can put into. And the way I'm going to look at it is that Fields played fine. Did some things that I really liked. There were some issues with the with fumbles that I blame more so on Nate Herbig than I do him. Had a few nice throws. 5 of 6, 67 yards. Good outing for your first time with a new team. I'm pretty okay with it. Like I said, now I'm just looking forward to seeing Russell Wilson. Did you see the Pickett throw to Ross? I didn't watch any of the Eagles game. I'll have to catch the highlights tomorrow on like Good Morning Football or something, or I'll just probably go back and watch it because the NFL will upload it somewhere. So I'll watch the highlights of it and see it. I saw his numbers. Somebody on the Eagles beat had posted it. But no, I hadn't seen anything from the Eagles at all. Should have taken the stage. Sorry, not what I expected. The hype from the wannabes. No, it's a podcast hype fault. I can replay the tape. Hope for cash. Won't win a ring. I mean, look, man. I don't think that there was. If you went into it with the expectation that Justin Fields was gonna like throw for 300 yards or something, I don't know what to tell you. Again, preseason, week 1, new team. I thought he played fine. Thought he did fine. Didn't do anything otherworldly. I didn't expect him to do anything otherworldly. This is like roughly what I was hoping for. Do a few nice things on some throws, which he did. Make a few nice throws. Got sacked a couple times, but I don't think any of which were like necessarily his fault. Troy Fautanu got beat right away by Daniel Hunter, who was behind Justin Fields. Like I think that expectations definitely shape opinions. And if you went into this with like super duper expectations, like, all right, he better be great or I'm going to shit on him, then okay. But I think he did fine. That's just my opinion. Ross 2 steps on the defense back and he hit the DB on the numbers on. Oh, that's good. Somebody send me the clip of that. I'll be a little bit of a pain in the butt about it on Twitter. That'd be kind of funny. Who's expecting Fields to be MVP caliber player? Who you're watching? I'm just speaking, in general. Although there are some folks, I don't say MVP, but like a lot of people at the worldwide leader saying up, they should really just start Justin Fields. And by the way, I'm pretty on record on here saying that I think he's going to be the starter at one point, and I wouldn't be angry at all if he is the starter week 1. Hell, I think I came on here saying that they should. I might be on board with it. If he keeps stacking practices and has, a solid preseason, I wouldn't be against starting him week 1. There's a lot of Fields truthers out there, and I think he's going to be fine. I don't know if I fall into the Fields truther side of things where I think that he's like God, but I think he'll be fine. But no, I did not see the Kenny Pickett throw. I will seek it out, and I will laugh. And I'll post some smart aleck thing about it on Twitter that I'm sure will upset some people. But that's half the fun, is like Steelers fans that, you know what, I guess it's kind of on me too, because like at this point, if you're still talking about Kenny Pickett, it's kind of dumb. But I'm just doing it in like a backhanded way to laugh. So yeah, I'll seek it out. I'll find it. I'll give a little giggle about it. Like I said, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, we'll do post-game shows for each of the preseason games, and in the regular season, we'll figure out when we're going to do them. Again, like I said, it'll either be like the night of, afternoon of, we'll figure it out, but they'll come in the regular season as well. It'll be a little bit more difficult with the having to watch the remainder of games and wanting to take in everything for the job. So by the way, speaking of the job, go read all the stuff that I do at sportingnews.com. You can read the Steelers exclusive coverage over at behindthesteelcurtain.com as well. So a little shameless plug for all the things I'm doing. Did a piece on the Bills I'm pretty proud of. You can go seek that out on sportingnews.com, diving into what Joe Brady did for them last year midseason, just really changing their philosophy on the fly. So, yeah, a little shameless plug for me. Go read my stuff on Sporting News. Please and thank you. Send me presents. He made 2 awful throws. His patented back shoulder throws to guys who have steps. Yeah. I saw a few of the Eagles beat guys tweeting about it, and they said that he was struggling. So, doesn't necessarily surprise me. I mean, it doesn't surprise Steelers fans who watched him for 2 years and know that he's not good. So, cheers, Kenny. Go for a couple more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, comments, drop them in the comments. And again, if you're not already subscribed, please do so. We'll do, again, multiple iterations of Black and Gold Breakdown every week, as well as the Pump Fake, my national NFL podcast, where you can listen to wherever you get your podcast, or you can watch it on the channel. The last episode me and JP Acosta did, where we each ranked our 5 most interesting teams entering the 2024 seasons. The Steelers were one of mine, so it's even more Steelers content you can go get. New episode will come out in the coming days as well. And then, of course, before the season starts, I will do the 2.0 version of going through every team, picking every game, and then having my standings predictions. So that'll come before the season starts. So keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. It'll, like I've said before, it'll be, I would say, probably like the Tuesday before the Thursday night kickoff. So pretty, right before the season. So that'll be coming in the coming weeks. Pretty excited about that. It's my favorite piece of content to do every year. I love doing it because there's always going to be the fan base. Like, I promise you, I'm going to pick the Broncos to win 4 games, somewhere in that 4 or 5 games. There's going to be a Broncos fan that's going to be like, they're winning 11 games. You're an idiot. And I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to pick the Giants to win 2 games. There's going to be a Giants fan that says, Daniel Jones is taking us to the Super Bowl. You're stupid. You have no idea what you're doing. Why do people pay you to talk about football? And it's going to make me laugh wholeheartedly. I can't wait. So subscribe to the channel and listen to the Pump Fake wherever you get your podcasts. And watch this. Go back and watch all of these. All of them are still relevant. I bet we're probably going to do another Brandon Ayuk show when he either gets traded or signs with San Francisco, where we can all wallow together if that happens. That whole thing's been a ginormous headache. But happy to have football back. Happy to have a Steelers game to talk about again. It's been 7 months since we've been able to do that. And how much can change in 7 months? I mean, whole new quarterback room, a bunch of new exciting defensive players, and crossing our fingers for a potential trade to take place. So excited about the season to come. Don't want to get, too overreactionary for week 1 of the preseason, but it's fun to have Steelers football back. And again, the Steelers lose to the Texans 20-12. I'll say this, though. I haven't really talked too much about the Texans starters. You guys know I love CJ Stroud. The touchdown toss to Tank Dell was pretty rad. And because it was a preseason game, I was sitting here and I went, yeah, that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy to see it. I love CJ Stroud. I hope he has a great year. Hope Tank Dell has a really nice bounce back year as well. I had something else in mind that I was going to. Oh, Cam Johnson, the punter, decked. I think it was either Tank Dell or Steven Sims. I tweeted that it was Tank Dell, but I think it was Steven Sims actually. He just tanked him on the sideline during a punt. That was pretty cool, but it might have been Tank Dell. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was Tank Dell. Either way, it's pretty great. Cam Johnson looks yoked, and he's a really good punter. But first and foremost, yoked. Absolutely jacked human being. But again, the Steelers lose 20-12 in the preseason opener to the Houston Texans. They'll play the Buffalo Bills next week in Acrisure Stadium for week 2 of the preseason, where hopefully we'll see a little bit of Russell Wilson and a little bit more of the starters. Hopefully we'll be able to see Russell Wilson and Justin Fields get reps with the ones against Buffalo. That would be good. But appreciate you all for watching as always. And again, subscribe to the channel, all the Steelers content, all the NFL content throughout the year. It's going to be a very fun season. I hope to spend it with all of you. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. Enjoy. I'll talk to you soon.